everybody, thanks for taking a minute to grow. My name is Dustin Cohn. I'm this year's horticulture intern for the SoLo counties, and today we're going to be talking about hanging baskets. So right here is one of the hanging baskets I made this year, and as you can see, it's really enjoying its life right here. So the plant that's in here is a Supertunia Vista bubblegum. So it's part of the Vista series from Proven Winners because you can just see how good it does. That's why it's a Vista, because it just gets so huge. And there's actually only, if you would believe it, 2 petunia plants in this whole container. So I have them in an 18-inch hanging container that has a cocoa fiber lining. And I just like it because of the air movement and that kind of stuff, and it holds up really well. So like the cocoa fiber I'll replace, you can usually get about 1 to 2 years out of it. I usually get about 1 because the birds actually steal my cocoa fiber and they make their nest out of it, so I usually get about 1 year out of it. But so kind of the one thing I like about this planter right here, as you can see, it gets full sun, which is what these plants really enjoy, is all day full sun. Give them as much sun as you can and they'll really thrive for you. And when you go about kind of planting a container like this, since it is a hanging basket and the soil reservoir isn't as big as you would say a normal container or even in-ground plantings, I usually start off with a slow release fertilizer in the beginning of the summer because that gives the plants extra food to get going. And then about every week I give a water soluble fertilizer. So right here is an example of the one I give, which is from Proven Winners. And this is just really good at keeping the nutrients in the soil because as we know, the summer's been really dry, and as you keep watering and the plants keep losing that water and dripping it out, you're losing your nutrients through your water. So if you just kept giving your plants water and water and water without giving them nutrients to refill what nutrients they're losing through that water it's leaving the container, there wouldn't be a lot of them to go on. So that's one way that I keep these containers looking as full as they do. And then another way you can keep your containers looking well is deadheading. So like some varieties and plants don't need to be deadheaded, like this one doesn't need to be deadheaded to keep blooming, but as you can kind of see here, if like a different variety, you would just pull off these splint blooms and get rid of them before they'll go into making more flowers and blooms. And then kind of the last way to take care of a hanging basket is kind of in this midsummer getting you can kind of see they start to get kind of laggy. So one way you can take care of that lagginess issue is actually just take like a clippers and you just go in and you just trim it up to where you want. And that doesn't hurt the plant at all. It's actually pretty good for the plant because it's telling the plant to send more energy into making more blooms. And so kind of the way you want to trim your plant is like, with rule of thumb, trim it just to the bottom of your container. So like right here is the bottom of my container. As you can kind of see, my arm disappears into the container. But I trimmed just actually a little bit above where the bottom is, so I did leave a little bit extra. But I kind of just want to make sure it's all kind of even, one level. And then that will tell the plant to go making more energy to create blooms. So thank you for taking a minute to grow and learning about hanging baskets.